Hello, Rutherford weather friends. Sorry for the late arrival. I missed the fireworks. Had some strong storms come through this afternoon, and we're left right now with lots of heavy rain, which you're probably seeing, and a flash flood warning that is in effect. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll just have the radar up here for a little bit. Would think that the strong storms, we're probably done with the intensity of those being strong to severe at this point, but who knows? We might not. So that's why we'll have the stream going. Had some work today and in the studio, and we just had to push through. It's a holiday weekend, so apologize for the late start to all of this. This is a look from the Gateway area, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic. And we're looking out, gray, cloudy skies. The winds kind of died down a bit, but still raining. And going to have some rain here for a little bit, it looks like. So that's one of the vantage points that we can give you here. So we'll talk more about this flash flood warning in just a second. If you've got any storm reports, we'd love to hear those. We can pass those along to the National Weather Service. I will say the storm's kind of beginning to lose some of its intensity. We had a little strong storm kind of pop up in Christiana, but it's now kind of been absorbed into everything that we've had going here this afternoon. Not seeing any storm reports here today on the storm activity. One of the things that I was having to deal with is some lightning issues with the radio station. So did have a little bit of that to deal with today. But let's just check on a few of our TDOT cameras here. So this is looking at 24 and 840, a very wet commute for us right here, as you can see. Water on the lenses. Let's go out 840 here a little bit to in the flood warning area east of Veterans Parkway along 840. Wet streets there, of course, we can see. But as we take a look at the trees and things around, not a lot of wind blowing there in that area. But pretty much most of the county is in at least some type of rain. There may be a few lighter pockets out to the west, out toward Bradyville and Reedyville, up toward Las Casas and Milton. But as we take a wider view, and I know sometimes it's harder to see the borders here of the county, but looking pretty, here we go, it's there. So looking generally in this area for the county, you can see much of it is covered in rain, maybe some lightning strikes here or there. We have cooled to 73 degrees. That's a nice thing, with a dew point of 71 and winds around 8 miles an hour at the Murfreesboro Airport 13 minutes ago during that reading, 73 in Smyrna as well. So it has kind of cooled us off from another hot day. Let's look inside this flash flood warning area. And again, that is in effect for another couple of hours. So here in Rutherford County, where are we concerned with this flash flood warning? Well, it looks like most of Laverne, because if it wasn't covered in the flash flood warning that is in the rest of Rutherford County, one that's going for another 3 hours covers the rest of Laverne. So we're just going to say Laverne, Smyrna, down toward Florence and Blackman, all in this flash flood warning, and still some heavy rain from Rock Springs to Rocky Fork Creekside. But one thing you might notice here, and even in this entire flash flood warning polygon, there's no lightning. So things are kind of losing a bit of its umph. But we do know that we've got some pretty heavy rain falling out there. Let's take a look here at the TDOT camera in Smyrna along Sam Ridley Parkway. Well, looks like some type of accident there on the shoulder, but very wet streets there. Let's get another vantage point here on Sam Ridley. If this camera will pop up, and does not look like it will. So let's go to the other one there at the Sam Ridley exit. That's the one we just looked at, isn't it? We'll go down to Amelville Road then. This is Rock Springs. So still pretty wet there. Heavy rain falling. So got this flash flood warning in effect. Let me pull up the details on that. We'll just get to those together. It was a flood advisory and then the flash flood warning. Small creeks, streams, urban areas, highways, streets, underpasses as well. Poor drainage areas, low lying. Of course, turn around, don't drown. If there's water over the road, please just turn around, don't go through that. At 4:23, radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Between 1.5 and 3 inches of rain has fallen in this flash flood area. Gives me an idea here. Let me pull up our estimated rainfall. I'm going to go last 6 hours here. See what it gives me. See if I get any rainfall totals. Radar indicating, well, that's right where I can't see it. About 1.5 inches of rain. There's almost 2. Let me turn the composite off here and the radar off. Well, it's not going to give me that information, is it? This is the one that I actually need to be able to pull that info. So hold on a sec. There we go. That's the color that I wanted to see. So it looks like anywhere from 1 inch to 1.5 inches in the places where we see the yellow and the green, maybe 0.5 inch of rain. And in the orange color, that's going to be over 2 inches, up to 2.5 in the darker orange. So that's kind of what we're seeing here in the warning area. So for Rutherford County, the area that has seen the most rainfall and is going to be in the area that's over 1 inch, probably about 1.5 inches, around Shores Road, Franklin Road. Now, this is radar estimated, up to Burnt Knob Road, between Blackman and Amelville. And then once you get over the border on into Triune. Barely saw maybe 1/4 inch from Florence up to Belle Meade. There's a nice little quick downpour of maybe 1.5 inches in Smyrna, near the Walmart area there in Smyrna. So a few pockets there. And once we get on into Laverne, we get close to the Davidson County border. So maybe around 24 Industrial Boulevard, where the Baymont Inn is, Mason Road, there in Laverne, Carruthers Road, Center Point, getting really close to Cane Ridge there. But that's where we've seen the heaviest rain in this flood warning area. Electricity flickering in Smyrna, I understand from Susan. Brent tells us got almost 1/4 inch in Christiana. And you're welcome, Billy. Again, sorry, late to the party today, but had lots of work to try to get to the holiday weekend, and that plus the storms brought some electrical issues to us. So if you've experienced any problems, let us know what those are. And if you've got some photos of that, you can share that with us, and we'll share that with the National Weather Service as well. And that will help them to really kind of know what's going on. This is our second day in a row of having to deal with some of this. And one of the things we need to look at is power outages. And MTE's got about 4,700 or so without power. But most of those are in Williamson County. In Rutherford County, our power outages stand at 157 customers at this point. That's about 1%. Got 3,500 in Williamson County, and again, that's by far the highest number. But in that area where we have this flash flood warning, that's the same area that is experiencing some scattered outages. So we'll try to take a peek at some of the bigger ones. And I know the numbers may be a little hard for you to read, so I'm going to zoom in. Let's see. They're about 39, close to 40, and add another 10. So let's say 55 to 60 customers without power near Rocky Fork Road. And this would be the county line. This is the second day in a row these folks have dealt with some of the power outages here in that area. Near Jordan Acres in Smyrna, close to Foxland Forest. That's Morton Road, I think, that cuts through right in here. So that's where we have a little batch of power outages. And then along Rock Springs Road, we were just looking at that on the radar, is where we had the highest rainfall totals. We also have about 44 people without power along Rock Springs Road. A few other scattered outages, about 10 or so here between 840 and Franklin Road. Again, yesterday we dealt with storms in this same area. So some of the same areas affected today by the storms and power outages. There is a pretty good cluster of power outages south of town, too, south of Murfreesboro. This is Colonial Estates. This is Steeplechase Meadows, where I'm circling here. And so across the street as the crow flies, near the West Fork of the Stones River. Some power outages. I can't zoom in close enough to get these small streets, but this is off of the Shelbyville Highway, south of town and close to the border. So this is in the Christiana Midland area. Got a group of about 40 power outages there. So that's kind of what we're dealing with on the power outage side of things. And again, if you've got anything to report, just throw it in the chat there, and we'll be sure to throw it on for you. The thunderstorm activity looks to be dying down, and it's more of a rain situation here now. Go back to the current radar. And that's the radar within the flood warning area. Flood warning will stay in effect until 7:30. Did get a lightning strike out here on the Woodbury Highway. There's also within this warning area near Rocky Fork. So still some electricity, if you will, in the air with these storms. Here's a wider view at the overall coverage. Let me pop it over here to our wider radar view. So still some warnings out west. There was no severe thunderstorm watch for today. Most of these severe thunderstorms have behaved. Just been pretty electrical today, though. At least they've behaved here. National Weather Service, Alex Sizemore, meteorologist there. Severe threat is over for Williamson, just lingering rain and flooding. So that would be the same here. There was a question posed about, are we primarily looking at flood potential or more severe? And so that was an answer to that question, which answers our question, which is probably why once these storms popped up, there was no severe thunderstorm watch, because it wasn't going to be one of these things where we have severe storms and then the possibility of more severe storms. And yesterday, after our severe thunderstorm warning, the watch, we were trimmed out of that pretty quick. So a very similar situation here. Brent talking about Manchester. Got some friends down in neighboring Manchester and Coffee County, and maybe some of you who watch Rutherford weather and you live there and or you live here and work in the Manchester area, or it could be vice versa, getting some wind reports. I haven't really concentrated on those. Just looking to see if I see anything pertaining to Rutherford County here from the National Weather Service, and not really seeing anything. Hail wasn't really a big issue with these storms either, and there was some hail yesterday. But it's really been this afternoon storms that pop up and some gully washers. Let's see. I thought that was a storm report, but it's the terminal camera, or terminal radar. So this is the current view, how things look right now. Of course, the lighter the green, the lighter the rain. The yellows, that's moderate to orange, is higher rainfall rates. So we're seeing some of that right there in that flash flood warning area. But that is about to make its way over into neighboring Williamson County. It's very, very close there. Power outages are ticking up, but they're not necessarily ticking up for us. Still around 157, but there are almost 5,000 without power in Williamson County. They have a big problem there. Wilson County has 892, so we are thankful we're not dealing with the power outages that they are. I'm not so sure that looking at the power outage map that my daughter's home there in Wilson County is not without electricity. So again, sorry I missed the fun of the severe thunderstorm warnings, but it was quite the interesting afternoon on what was a day off. And we are still seeing some lightning strikes even outside of the heavier precipitation. Here's one over the county border. There's one right there almost in that warning polygon. There's another one near the border there at 24. Sometimes it may be hard for you to see those symbols, especially when they're not grouped together like over here in this particular storm cluster. But that's what those little bolts indicate. I wonder, I can display them differently. And I'm not sure if it shows up better for you that way or not. I would think not, because they're kind of small. But see those dots? There's a dot. There's a dot. Those are lightning strikes. So there's one near Deason right there. I certainly think the little bolt is at least a tad larger. So that's kind of why I leave it on that. Power flickering in Warrior Nation. Must be over in the Riverdale area. Oh, yeah. I can see your Warrior WX Riverdale. Nice. Not nice that the power is flickering, but good to see. I'm assuming you're a Riverdale warrior and you like weather, because who else knows what WX means except people who are into the weather. Let's kind of look and see what's going on here in that vicinity. Not sure where Warrior Nation is. Maybe it'll pull up here on my map. Let's see. No. So all I can go on is that Warrior Nation is near Riverdale. And so that's kind of the area we're zoomed in on. Not seeing a lot of lightning here, but that doesn't mean that it can't be something that's going on even outside of that. Or maybe trying to work on the power south of town, where we do have several power outages there. But it's the same area as yesterday. Let me pull this out a little bit. Pretty much the same area as yesterday. Smyrna, Laverne, down toward, probably West Blackman to Overall, up near Burnt Knob Road, in that general area around between Amaville, between 840 and Amaville Road. Those are the areas that got hit yesterday with strong storms and some power outages, and we're seeing the same today, although we do have some power outages south of town. There's a lot of things going on with 4th of July weekend. Some people may be going to some of the festivals and things of that nature in Nashville. If you're traveling there, they do have pretty much the same situation we have here, with strong storms, occasional lightning and thunder, and that is going to delay anything that's outdoors. But at least it cooled it off a little bit. So I thought I would just come into the weather party a little late today, which is okay. Sometimes those things are going to happen. We want to be here for every single solitary thing, but it's just not possible for one person to be able to do all of that. But we will continue to do our best and give you good weather information. And yeah, it was a wild June, and July starting off wildly too. Had a couple of weeks where I couldn't do any of this, even if we did have some bad weather, but we want to be here when we can. That's why it's always anyone who says we are the only place to get weather information. I don't know how they could do that, because inevitably something could happen. That's why you hear from most reputable people that do weather stuff, you always need multiple ways of receiving weather information. We're going to do our best to be here 90% of the time, but there's going to be, occasions like today. But it wasn't anything that was too horrible. And, these afternoon storm systems, this stuff can just pop up. Sometimes, models get it wrong. I don't think models predicted today as well as yesterday. But again, these storms were different than yesterday. Sort of. Well, maybe in most things it was a very similar situation, because once the storms pulsed up and we got some heavy rain and thunderstorms and severe thunderstorm warnings, things kind of turned more into a heavy rain situation, which we had the same today. But yesterday was a level 2 out of 5 for severe weather. Today, a 1 out of 5 for severe weather. At least the last time I looked. That could have changed. No, it was still the 1 out of 5 for just about the entire state. Yesterday, a 2 out of 5, and things weren't too radically different, honestly, with our weather situation today. I do think we're going to get a little more rain today than what we've had. Let me pop back over to there again is the rainfall over the county. See that there it's going to show you some areas that really did not receive a lot of rain. But most of the county got a drink of water. Maybe right there along the border with Fosterville, maybe just a little bit of rain, not much. So you were the losers in the rain category today. Up into downtown, maybe a half an inch of rain. If you were in Walter Hill and Las Casas, well, you might have gotten a couple of inches of rain up there. But even up in Wilson County, there's popping up 3 3/4 inches, just about. So that area in Wilson County kind of won the lottery today, but everywhere got a good drink of water, or got a drink of water. Only about 1/4 of an inch there, and from Florence, but a pretty widespread, anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to about 2 inches, going to be the norm, at least right now, with more rain falling. So with that said, we'll kind of leave things rolling here for a little bit, just in case we have things pulse up a little. But again, National Weather Service meteorologist talking about Williamson County, and we're in the same boat there. Could be some heavier rain, and we're going to lose. It's going to just kind of die off here in a couple hours, just because of we're going to lose the daytime heating from it, right? But looking at primarily lingering rain and some flooding problems with that, so we'll kind of keep it here and watch a few of those things. I did want to look just to be sure, but some of our flood prone areas, a lot of those are in south end of town, or south end of Murfreesboro. I keep saying town. And that's where we have a lot of slab roads and see some road closures and things of that nature, but I'm not even going to pull up the map for you. The road closure map, there are no roads closed or partially closed right now due to any flooding, so don't have that going on at this point. So we'll put the radar in motion. I'm going to pull out to give you a good full county view. And we'll just leave the channel rolling here for a little bit. This is Rutherford Weather. Well, friends, I think we're going to end the stream here. We're just dealing with rain, which is much needed as we continue to go through the overnight for the next little bit. But if we have any more strong storms, we'll be sure to pop on here and let you know. But I think we're in pretty good shape in terms of severe thunderstorms at this point. So thanks for being with us here on Rutherford